Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. So there is me and Karen and Victor who's going to present this webinar for you today. Unfortunately, Mina, due to some health issues, will not be able to participate in this webinar with us today. So we are going to show you today through this webinar how to comply with the simplicity of conversion and tagging of your financial statements. So I'm going to present myself briefly. So I'm Rania Ibnesh. I work in Pomelo-Paradigm as an account executive, and now I will handle to Karen the hand in order to present herself.
Thank you very much, Rania. I'm Karen Sophie. I'm a business developer at Parseport, and I've been with Parseport since 2020, and it's been quite an interesting ESEF journey these past 2 years. So yeah, nice to meet you all. And sorry, I'll give the mic to Victor from Boiron.
Yes, thank you, Karen. So I'm Victor Naget from Boiron Laboratories, a pharmaceutical company in France listed in Euronext Paris. We choose Pomelo and Parseport for helping us tagging our financial statements in ESEF. So I'm here to share with you my testimony about our work with Parseport and Pomelo.
Thank you so much, Victor. Karen, if you want, you can start presenting Parseport, and then I will go to present Pomelo-Paradigm.
Yes, thank you, Rania. I'll do that. So I'll start by just briefly presenting Parseport, telling you who we are, what we do, and how we make easy reporting as simple as possible. So Parseport is a leading provider of digital solutions for financial reporting in the XBRL and iXBRL formats. As you know, the iXBRL is also known as the ESEF format, which is what we're going to talk about today. And we have XBRL and taxonomies being at the core of our expertise and our business actually for more than 10 years. And we are actually not only serving PLCs and authorities, but we also are working closely in partnerships with the auditors, including the biggest, the Big Four, and also design agencies and consultation agencies, and also these agencies that allow us to create in a collaborative environment the annual report like Pomelo-Paradigm, which we are very happy with. So we are based in Copenhagen, and we have delivered XBRL reports and supported PLCs for more than 10 years, since 2012, where the XBRL format was actually made mandatory in Denmark for financial reporting. So we have quite some experience, and in 2015 we had the chance to open our Dutch office, because there in the Netherlands the XBRL format was also made mandatory for financial reporting, and we are now today more than 50 XBRL employees, professionals working located across all of the EU, and all our products are of course certified by XBRL International, and today with our ESEF solution we are helping PLCs all over the EU in complying with this new reporting standard. So quickly, next slide here, we have a small selection of our ESEF customers. And we have more than 700 ESEF customers, and we are showing here a few of them, their logos, their names, and below you see this slide deck of the actually already published annual reports in the ESEF format. So yeah, we've been first in many countries as an ESEF provider. For example, example, in France, where the company like Téléperformance was the first French company to report in ESEF. And we're really proud of that. And then we, of course, I mean, we try to show this varied, diverse range of customers, both across industries and across countries. So we have Coca-Cola, we have Ørsted in Denmark, biggest energy company. We have Suez in France. We have what can I mention? Konecranes in Finland, etc. So, but I won't bore you too much with all these. Let's go to the next slide, where we are just listing the key advantages of our solution, our approach, because we have this much making it simple, and this is really our approach, because we know that ESEF in itself is already a change. It is a change from going from being used to reporting in this paper PDF one-dimensional format, and then now reporting in a digital format that is multidimensional with metadata from the taxonomy. But transitioning and making financial reporting digitalized this process shouldn't overshadow the advantages of this increased comparability among the PLCs across EU and the UK. And this is why we are offering a solution where the easy reporting, instead of being a constraint, becomes a simple time cost efficient process, where the customer, with our help, with our mapping and taxonomy expertise, stays in full control, is not having to change his tools or workflows, is able to convert in a few minutes, I'll show you later, his ESEF reports, and is able to leverage on our expert knowledge and our experience, and while keeping full control and ownership of the data, and having us as the experts handle all the technical aspects. So no taxonomy knowledge needed with the customers. I will actually hand the floor to Rania now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen, for the presentation of Parseport. So now we're moving to the presentation of Pomelo-Paradigm. So Pomelo-Paradigm is a software provider. We are based in France, especially in Versailles, the city of lights, as you all know. So we have produced several thousands of documents that have been published or submitted. Here in France, we are the leader in the market and also in the European market. So basically what we do is that we help companies producing their financial documents, such as annual reports, quarterly reports, sustainability reports, or even fact sheets. So if we can move to the slide of our customers. Thank you, Karen. So here you have a quick overview of all our companies that choose to work on PomDoc Pro, which is our software. So as you can see, we operate in several sectors of activities, such as industry, digital services, and stuff. So we are located in Norway, Germany, UK, Belgium, and Netherlands. So we are really present in many countries. So besides our clients, we will move now to the slide of our partners. So in Pomelo-Paradigm, we have several partnerships with agencies like Labrador in France, or also in Europe or UK, like the Tree Agency, Imper, and other design agencies that came here to really help companies producing their financial documents and make it look beautiful. And also with editors and translators in order to control numbers, and also why not to translate their documents in many languages. And finally, with XBRL providers, such as, for example, Parseport, who are with us today. And after that, I'm going to show you the software, which is PomDoc Pro. And now I let Karen present the conversion. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Rania. So after all this talk, I thought we should go to a little bit more concrete stuff. So let me just go to this Excel file, because what I'm going to do now is to demonstrate and explain for you a little about how we map and how we convert the financial statements of the annual reports of our customers. And I'm going to use an example of one of our many trusted French customers, which is Michelin, who actually already published their 2020 annual report in ESEF last year. So very happy about that. So what you see in front of your eyes here is this Excel template, and it is really a fundamental part of our ESEF solution, because it's actually it's a pivot of our product, and it's a symbol of this add-on approach that we have, because it allows us to prepare the mapping of the financial statements well in advance, using already published material. So this means that we can actually start working immediately, no matter what time we sign with the customer. We can start mapping immediately and independently, and well in advance of the company's next annual report publication. And this all without having to install any software, any tools. The customer keeps his existing tools, he keeps his workflows and procedures that he is used to use for his consolidation and his annual reporting. For example, the PomDoc collaborative platform. We adapt to the customer. It's not the other way around. So let me explain a little bit about the content of this Excel template. In order for us to build the XBRL elements of the financial statements, we have this general data sheet, which is the first tab of this Excel template that all our customers are using. They're all using the same template. And this general data sheet contains these general informations of the company, and those informations are all part of the ESEF mandate that ESMA requires. It's like the company's stamp, you could say, footprint of his ESEF file, an identifier. So those are the general data, and then what we do next is we, as I said, we take the already existing material. So we simply take the PDF that exists on the website of the company, and it has been submitted. We take we extract the data of the 5 tables of the primary statements, and we put them in this template, dedicating a tab for each primary statement. And then we insert our simplified text, which are these red snippet of codes, red lines here. And those are simplified text which contains actually the XBRL coding for each line, for each of the statements. And you see, we have here, it's in French, I will translate quickly. The compte de résultat, it's the income statements. Then you have the comprehensive income income. And then we have the balance sheet, and we have the changes in equity, and lastly we have the cash flow. So for each statement there are inserted by our XBRL and taxonomy experts these simplified tags, and these tags, they serve as like line of commands. They will activate and enable during the conversion in our tool that I will show you in a minute. They will activate and enable the ease of our engine in order to connect each statement with its right taxonomy element. And our engine is, of course, very mature with all these thousands of reports that we have converted. But if there are some statements that are not recognized automatically during conversion, we will either put in a comment that we have done here, for example, a comment with a little bit more of a common wording for this specific statement, and of course not changing anything to the way that the companies they present their statements. That's their job. They know their business the best. We'll adapt, and then if there is a need of creating extensions, we will create anchored extensions and anchor them to the core taxonomy. So let me just go to the platform where the matching happens. So our conversion and validation tool, it's all in one. It's our ESEF product. It's called inspector.parseport.com, and I'm already logged in. And in this platform, you can have as many users and do as many conversions you want. It's unlimited. Before I do the conversion, I want to just emphasize a few things on the mapping that we do and the process around it, because it's important to note that nothing is set in stone when it comes to the mapping. After these 1 to 2 weeks, after the signature after signing with us, there is a 1 to 2 week of implementation where our experts will do the mapping, and we will then share with our customer this mapping proposal, and the customer will then review the mapping internally and with this auditor. And should they want any changes, we'll of course adjust the mapping accordingly. We are always on an ongoing basis, respecting both the auditor's opinion, the specific needs of the customers, while of course being in total line with the ESEF standard and the best practices. So and this can of course only be done with expertise and experience. But anyway, let me just note lastly another thing, because this, going back to this Excel file, this template, it is actually going to be reused every year. So going forward and for each reporting year, the only thing that the customer has to do is to update his figures. So he will update his figures to the current ones. And should the customer have any changes to the presentation of the primary statements, for example, like elimination of a line or addition of a new line, a change in text, etc., an addition of a column, coming from different local or different international reporting standard amendments, then this is all possible to just effectuate within the Excel. The changes are all done here, and having taxonomy updates being automatically integrated in our conversion tool, this makes for a very simple process, because he can do the customer does the changes and reconverts with this updated template, and that's it. And should there be any lines, of course, that are not recognized, our taxonomy mapping team will update the mapping within 48 hours. So, and of course, if there is a need for an update in the last minute, it will be a shorter response. But going back, I will show you what to do. So, in order to produce this taxonomy package and convert the statements into the ESA format, I will now upload the Excel file with my simplified tags and my current figures, and I will click upload file. So the only thing the customer needs to do when using Parseport and Pomelo, because normally, of course, the standard process is to combine with the visual part, the PDF, so you have a full ESA file. But in this case, we are doing a collaborative solution with Pomelo, where Pomelo will using their PomDoc be this PomDoc tool the place to finalize the ESA report, including the visual part. So now it is converting, and it will take a couple of minutes. Voila, it didn't take long. And now you see that we are on this validation page, which will always show you if there is anything on the mapping that you need to be aware of. And we added a few elements to this one in order just to showcase that are what our validator can show, and here. But after we've done the mapping, we'll always hand a file that is already validated with no plugging errors from the mapping team, of course. So the other tab called the viewer allows the customer to actually inspect the XBRL elements that are attached to his statements. And by clicking highlight XBRL elements, I am then able to go in and look into the technical layer of these statements, the taxonomic dimensions, and I can choose the language that I wish to have the information shown in. I will keep it in English as we are doing this webinar in English. And then when I click on a statement called it with the green highlight, I will then see that this specific statement has the taxonomic element revenue from contracts with customers, and then I can scroll down and have a look at all these different dimensions. I will also be able to have shown voila, if this, for example, the yellow color shows when we made an extension for this specific statement, and yes, then I will always be able to go to this fact list where I will have a full list of the mapping. But what is important when using Parseport and Pomelo is actually to convert the Excel file and to extract, to download the zip package, which includes the taxonomy. And I will do that from here, and then I am actually ready to go into to the PomDoc and import my taxonomy. So I'll give the word for you, Rania. I'll hand the mic to you.
Thank you, Karen, for this demo. So now we're moving to PomDoc. So now, as Karen showed, it's really easy to have the zip file ready. So now this is the platform of PomDoc, where companies produce their financial documents. So here we have the document of Michelin, which was created in PomDoc with the agency Côté Cœur that handles all the graphical part. So the advantage of the two solutions combined is that you can do the task in a parallel way. It means that, for example, you can start working on the document in PEMDoc in a collaborative way, because PEMDoc is a software where you can work several people at the same time. So now I'm connected by myself, but for example, if my colleagues were with me, you're going to see them here. And also you can add comments and other stuff of collaborative work, but that's not really the subject of our demo today. The subject that interests us today is the compatibility with the Parseport solution, which allows you to create your taxonomy and integrate it directly into PEMDoc. So it's the first step of our demo. So I'm going to insert the taxonomy that Karen sent me, that has been done in and produced in Parseport. So it's really simple. I'm just going to import the zip file directly here. So it's really quickly, it takes like 2 seconds. So here, as you can see, we have the taxonomy that it's insert. So this tool allows you to insert the taxonomy, but also to have an overview of the content. So now, for example, we will analyze the taxonomy. So here we have the details, the labels of the taxonomy, the different parts where the tagging has been done. So we have the maximum of detail possible. We can even check and control some elements, such as the extensions that Parseport showed at the beginning. So we can also find the tables. So here, for example, we have the tables that have been tagged. So I will take, for example, the table number 2. We will now see how we can place a table directly in the document. So it's really simple. I'm just going to remember this item, vente, which means sales in English. So I'm just going to, and now we see that Ankuti, which is my colleagues, joined me in this document. So we can, as I said, we can work at the same time directly. So now we're going to see how to place a table directly in PEMDoc. So for example, here, it's really simple. I just have to click here, tables, and now you can see all the tables which contain the taxonomy. I'll just write down the item sales. And here we can see that sales is linked to the table number 2. So here, if I click here, we have, and I place it in the document, we have our table here. So I'm just going, of course, to resize it real quick, just in order to look good. So here, for example, I'm going to do this. And also here, I'm going to make it like that. And for the results also, I'm going to do this, just in order to have a good looking table. So now you see that I place it really quickly and simply, so it's not really complicated, and it's way too quick. But the most interesting thing here is that if I show here the highlight data in text, we see all the figures that have been tagged in our table. So for example, if I click here in this item we can see the details of the tagging. Here, for example, we have the label, the period, and also the value unit. So you can easily see that this figures has been tagged, and also you all have here in this layout, you have the details of the taxonomy. So the search engine makes it easy to find the table. And of course, for the table, you can adjust and resize the table really quick. You have to do it only one time. Once it's done, even if you change, for example, the content or the taxonomy, you will still have the same layout, even if you change the content. So the work is done one time. You don't have to do it another time. So the next interesting part is that once the table is placed and everything is done, when we will export it in the XHTML format, we will have it tagged. We will see that later. So now we move to the second part of the tagging that concern the additional information. So for the additional information, I'm going just to take this item, and another time I will use the search engine that of course helps me really quickly find the item that I want to find. So I just have to click, and now I'm directly in the item that I want to tag. For example, this, I want to tag this additional information, so it's really simple. Now, since this item is already already exist in the taxonomy, I will do the same thing. So here I will open my tags, and here you can find the item tagged. So it's really by one click. You just have to click on the item and then add your tag, and the element is tagged. It's really simple and quickly. So same thing with the notes. So now I'm moving to the notes. So I will take, for example, this chapter. I want to tag. Now I'm tagging either sentences or chapter. You can also tag as many pages or chapter that you want. So it's really the same principle. It do not change. So again, I'm going to highlight the part that I want to tag, and then open my data tab, and here I'm just going to write down the item which is linked to our tag. So here, for example, if I create again the tag, and my notes are now tagged. So the same thing can be done in every note that you want to tag. Of course, this is really simple because, as I said, this document did not include any taxonomy. So at the beginning, I inserted the taxonomy of Parseport. So it's the zip file that I showed you at the beginning of the presentation. And once the taxonomy is integrated, everything is pretty simple. As you saw, I can basically take everything, notes, notes, tables, and also additional information. But the result of all of this is the export in the HTML format. So here in PomDoc, obviously, we can export in any format that we want. But now what interests us is really the export in XHTML format. So yes, it's here. So here you have the documents in the HTML format. Here we have the dynamic hierarchy that allows us to open any part of the documents easily. But the most interesting thing is the highlight. So here I highlighted the data, so you can see all the items are really tagged. Here we have the details of each item. If we click here, and also if I scroll down a little bit, I can also see the notes that I tagged. Here we have the description of each item. So all the changes that I've done in PomDoc are directly and automatically transferred into the HTML format, when we can see all the data that has been tagged. So besides tagging elements from the taxonomy, we will see, but now at the end of the presentation, how we can also create new elements tagging without being linked to a taxonomy. So now I will give the hand to Olivier, who's going to give the testimonial to Victor, who's going to give his testimonial.
Yes, thank you, Rania. So the purpose of my testimony is to explain to you guys how did we work with Parseport and Pomelo. So here at Boiron Laboratories, we choose Pomelo for the PomDoc Pro tool that we use for URD 2020. And we choose Parseport in order to help us for the SF format. So as you may know, in 2020, we had the possibility to postpone the publishing in SF format. So what we did, but we all the same worked with Parseport in order to map our financial statements in advance. So the work done was quite easy with Parseport. The mapping was done very quickly and in like 1 month or so. And after that, we decided to review as a team inside the company the mapping done by Parseport in order to understand better the taxonomy, the SF taxonomy. And then we organized Teams meeting with Parseport in order to discuss about selection of concept, selection of tagging, in order to make sure that our financial statements are properly mapped. And then we decided to show to our external auditors, and they are Deloitte and Mazars, the mapping, and they validated it, and it was quite easy for them to understand the tool of Parseport, the inspector tool that Karen showed you before, which is quite helpful for us as a consolidation team and for the external auditors, because as Karen said, they can use it quite easily. And they also decided to do an IT audit of the tool, of the Parseport tool, which is fine, which was fine as well. So in general, we are very happy to work with Parseport because our discussions are very smooth, and they, as Karen said, they adapt to their customers and to our specific business. And as for Pomelo, so for our 2020 URD, as you can see on the slide, we did it with PomDoc Pro, and it was quite easy to work on, and every member of the company who work on the URD in finance or in legal department, for example, we're very happy with the tool. And this year we are going to publish in SF format for the 2021 closing. And in advance of this closing, we work together with Parseport and Pomelo in order to help us implement our financial statements from Parseport to Pomelo, to PomDoc Pro. And once again, it was quite easy to do, and both Parseport teams and Pomelo team are very available to help us in order to make things work, and so far so good. So we are very happy with both tools, and we recommend to use them for your publication of the URD and for the SF format.
Thank you, Victor, for this testimonial. Now we're going to move with Karen for the ESG part. Karen, I'll hand you the hand.
Yes, thank you, Rania, and thank you, Victor, as well. Just as a last topic of this webinar, before we will welcome any questions if you have, I'll just touch upon the current state of ESEF and what's to come. So there is no doubt that the digitalization of reporting continues to expand its scope and both in quality and quantity. So today, we know that it is mandatory. We have had, as mentioned, Victor as well. There was a postponement in most of countries last year of these formats, but this year, 1st of January 2022, it is ultimately the ESEF deadline year, and it's mandatory for all listed companies across the EU to submit their annual reports in the ESEF format, having the financial statements mapped in XRL according to the taxonomy. So next year, the notes, which Rania showed a little bit about, also how to tag those within the PMDAC, the notes to the statements, including accounting principles, etc., they will equally have to be tagged with these ESEF taxonomic concepts, in this. And the way that they will be tagged is not the detailed markup as the financial statements, but it's in the blocks. So it's also, you will also hear the word block tagging, concept block tagging be mentioned a lot. It's something that PMDAC is ready and does already. It's something that we already do in Parseport. We have done it for all our Danish customers, as it's been mandatory always to map as well extra financial information. And last year, where many of our customers chose to go all the way and submit their file in ESEF just to get used to this new format, some also chose to have the notes mapped included. So it's all we are all ready, and we are looking forward for next year. Then lastly, and presumably in 2024, the ESG reports will additionally become subject to the ESEF mandate. But while waiting and looking forward for ESMA to define the final framework for this ESG reporting, let's focus a little bit on what we know, the current state, in order to picture what's to come. So shortly, companies have actually been reporting ESG since 2018, and this type of disclosure is today an increasingly popular KPI among shareholders who use this to measure the performance of companies they invest in. So in order to help not only investors, but actually also consumers, policymakers, and other stakeholders to evaluate non-financial performance of these companies. Now we're talking certain large companies, but also medium-sized companies. So the scope will be very big for the ESG reporting in ESEF, where ESMA will then, in a couple of years, will require them to disclose how they manage social, environmental, and governance challenges in the same harmonized and machine-readable format to ensure this detailed, consistent, structured data that the ESEF format of the statements already delivers or provides. Lastly, I can just mention that when we know that this is the objective, we also know that the mapping exercise will be similar as to what we know. We know that it will, the ESG reporting includes both non-monetary and monetary information, just as the statements and the notes. So it will be the same kind of tagging exercise of non-financial or financial and non-financial information, and all using the same digital language of XBRL to embed this metadata of the taxonomy. And this means that when it becomes mandatory for ESG, we expect the reporting year of 23, so in 24, the processes using Parseport and Pomelo won't be much different of what our customers are used to today. First, the scenario, the mapping scenario created by Parseport, validated and signed by the auditors, integration of the taxonomy in the POMDoc Pro for the finalization of the full ESEF package, including the visual and the technical layer, and then ready for OAM submission and publication on the website of the customer. So yeah, thank you for that. I'll hand it to you, Rania.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen, for all this clarification. We all agree that indeed this year companies should get ready to tag the new elements of the ESG section, especially that it will be mandatory from next year, so everyone should be prepared. So before ending this webinar, I just want to come back to this ESG part of the documents in POMDoc again. So since you will be soon be tagging some elements of the ESG section, in this case you have two possibilities. So either you have already prepared with Parseport the elements that are necessary to tag. In this case, you can find them directly in POMDoc. It's the example that what I've showed you before. Or the second way is to tag the elements directly on POMDoc, which is also very easy to do. And I'm going to show you an example. So we are going to create a tag. So I'm just going to open to go to the parts. For example, here now I'm going to show you how to create a tag that it's not really necessary linked to a taxonomy. So it's quite easy. So this item concerns the gap, the pay gap between women and men in companies. So for example, it's an example of what should be tagged in the future from next year. So I will choose, for example, this item. So this figure. So at the same time, I will open my data tab, but this time I'm going to, sorry, I will select this item, copy, paste, and then I'm going to create the tab. Of course, I just have to choose the item that is linked to this figure. So for example, here, since it's the pay gap, so it's this one. I'm just going to select this concept. And then you can see that here, for example, if I click here, you can see that I inserted the tag in this figure. So it's really simple to tag. Here it's in pink because it's tagged. So as I said here, since the data is highlighted, we have the figure in pink. So this, for example, this example is an example of creating tags not really attached to a taxonomy, which is possible with POMDoc. So as I said at the beginning, either it's already exists in the taxonomy, so then you only have to do the same manipulation that I did at the first. It means that you will open the tabs and then link it with the document, or you can create it directly here when you can, as you can see here, created as many tags as you want. So this is only an example of some items that will be necessary to tag in the future. So this is the last part of this webinar. So as you saw, it's really simple with Parseport and PomDoc Pro to tag as many things that you want. We tried with the two solutions combined to simplify work as many as possible for companies as well as agencies or any actor that's going to use both solutions. Our goal is really to help throughout the process from the beginning. So from the creation of the zip file with Parseport until the publication of the annual report or any type of document with PomDoc. So if you have any question about the tagging or also the production of the documents, please, we are waiting for your answers. We will be pleased to answer all of them. And I'm just going to share my screen again in order for you to see our contacts. Okay, perfect.
Do we have any questions in the chat, Rania? Or?
Yeah, so here we have our contacts. If you want to contact us or send us an email, please feel free to call or send an email if you have any question about the process, about what's going to come for next year, either for the ESG part or for the ESF part. We will be pleased to answer all of your questions. So thank you so much for coming today. We hope that now it's pretty clear for you, the ESF and ESG parts, and thank you for coming. Goodbye.
Thank you all. Have a nice day. Thank you.